Hi everybody, welcome to this general playthrough for Expert Division only in the Kickoff Classic 18-hole Cup here on the channel. All 18 holes featured. Remember to hit thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, totally free to do so. Timestamps in the description down below. Remember, you will need to tweak according to the wind angles you get during the tournament, as well as, of course, to adapt to your club's balls and skill level. You will see the nighttime version of Jubilee Grove featured here. You will be playing on the daytime version, but both versions of the course play exactly the same, so no need to be concerned at all. Remember, some of these old shots may be from before the time that the ball attribute levels got changed, but this does not affect the adjustment or the outcome of the shot at all. Good luck, here we go.
First hole then, this is of course a must eagle, and some cases some people will be dialing this in for a hole in one. 5.8 top spin, 1.5 side spin to the left. Loads of ways you can play this hole. We get close on this one, we get a zoom in for the hole in one, didn't quite drop it. Max distance with APOC 5 and above. You'll see the ball guide there pointing deliberately just right of the pin and the cup. You can look at the ring references as well if you so wish. So it's max distance with APOC 5 plus, and then we adjust max plus 10. If you've got APOC 4, you'd have to stretch out and then push up a total of 6 yards after your adjustment. No curl, no overpower, although you could tweak and add a bit of curl to try and get the hole in one dialed in here based on the miss in the video. But the topspin takes us very nicely. We are missing this one by about a fifth of a green square on the first par 4. But you've got to have the eagle regardless of your bracket. Hole 2, going to play with the grizzly and a kingmaker. We're going to go with 2 backspin and 3 right spin. And then you want to look at the plus yards. It's going to be plus 2 with grizzly 9, plus 5 with the grizzly 7 and 8. And the ball guide as shown. Look at the tip of the ball guide. It's about a quarter of the way along that light green square column. Look at the second bounce as well. There's a few references you can use there because the rings aren't really by any landmarks there. So you've got to just look at the ball guide and the second bounce when you've added your spin. Max plus 10, power 1 settings. And as always, use grizzly 9 numbers here, regardless of your club level. Subject to any wind angle tweaks, of course. Plain ball shot and a perfect ball here. And this is going to bounce over the bunker very nicely. Second bounce on the fringe and tracks beautifully for the hole in one. Hole 3, nice angle here. We're going to go with spin adding first. So that's 5.8 top spin, 2 left spin. Top of plus 10 yards with APOC 5 and above. P3 max with APOC 4. APOC 5 and 6, you can see clear ring touching the rough on the right. If not, you'll have different ring references for different club levels. Look at the second bounce and the ball guide as well for further references. Max plus 10, power 3 settings for me. That is going to be 6.6 rings. There we go. And then time to take our shot. And you want to get a good rollout on this drive, even if you get a dead bounce, though, slightly less rollout. You're not going to risk the eagle, but you want to try and play for the albatross if you can. Perfect ball away, bounces, and there's that little extra roll we're looking for into the lighter patch of fairway. Drive distance around 380 yards. Second shot, start by making a fringe check with the ball guide in line with the pin. It's a bit difficult because of the colliding ball guide, but you'll see there plus 5, and it's where the fringe meets the green. Plus 5 with sniper 10 will be plus 7 with sniper 9. Then we find our position, add spin, 4 back, 3 right, and then the ball guide. Because of the wind angle, you want the ball guide to be short. And I'll give you a zoom in on that soon, all being well. There you go. So about 2 green squares short and probably aligned with the right edge of the cup. Pause the video, get a good look at that one to be as accurate as you can. For a fringe check of plus 5, I'm going to play this one 52% slider, 0 elevation, regardless of club level. You're going to use sniper 10 numbers, please. Making our adjustment, zooming in so that the trees don't get in the way. Perfect ball has always been fine for me. Obviously, hefty great right may well clip the trees, so proceed with caution there. But we get a nice speed on this one, and it just falls over the edge for the albatross. On this par 4, we're going to play APOC followed by Thorn and a power 3 ball, Kingmaker preferred. Red ring touching the rough on the right at +10, top of +10 that is, with APOC 5 and 6. Adding spin, 5.8 top spin and 3 left spin. If you've got APOC 4, you will be at P3 max rest and you will have 20% of the red ring overlapping the rough. Adjustment here is maximum distance with 10% elevation, and then we are going to take our shot. You don't have to use a precision ball here, just using it to speed up the content creation process. 2 balls of curl to the left just before circle drop as our overpower reference, and then look at the tip of the triangle vertically aligned with the base of the T for your curl reference there. Drive distance, you're going to be around 360 to 365 yards. Second shot, find the minimum distance line with your thorn, and then we are going to count up rings from min. We're going to add 1 bar of backspin first, and then I'm pushing up from the min line. There's 4 rings, and in the end I push up another 2 rings, and I just want to have, really, with the spin added, of course, the ball guide just going to the front of the cup. So aiming right at the pin with the ball guide, but they're just going to the front of the cup. 6 rings from min. We're going to play it 6% slider, and it's 0 elevation. It's 1% slider per ring up from min. Pulling over the bullseye. More information on rings from min and pulling over the bullseye on our Academy tutorials. Playlist is on the channel homepage. Centre the ball and hit perfect. You're going to bounce before the green and roll nicely in for the eagle. Hole in one here. Before spin, we're going to go with the sniper and the blue ring touching the rough there, the top of the blue ring, with the ball guide going through the hole. Then I am adding my spins here, and you can see we're going to go with 2.8 bars of backspin. You could actually set spins with a basic ball to avoid any unwanted side spin, but you don't have to do that. All depends how you are feeling with the time available. Aiming more or less at the pin, maybe 1 click to the right, just having a look at the zoom in there. Try and replicate it as best you can and put in some wind angle tweaks or 2 if necessary. Adjustment is medium distance, 20% elevation, and we're playing with power 3 settings, and always, regardless of your club level, you're going to use sniper 10 numbers. We've made our adjustment, we centre the ball and hit perfect, and then this is coming in very nicely and we'll drop for a hole in one. This is middle wind strength and middle wind angle. On this par 5, I'm going to suggest you go with a berserker to make this one easier. Half of the red ring inside the rough with APOC 5 and 6 at the top of +24. Then I'm adding 0.4 backspin and 1 bar side spin to the left, adjusting max +10 P5. With APOC 4 you will be at P5 max distance, and you will have around 70% of the red ring inside the rough because your ring sizes are bigger. Full overpower, slow needle, try and hit perfect. Great left with lower accuracy clubs may catch the rough, as may a great right. So try and hit perfect on this one. Take a token or 2, get familiar, but you want full overpower, bounce over the hazards to around 380 yards. Second shot, it's all about getting to green safely. You may need to vary the spins depending on your drive, but as a rule, 2 backspin and 1 left spin, and then stretch out and look at the second bounce. You want it to be just before the edge of the rough, kind of in between the top of the bunker and the edge of the rough there as a guide. But like I said, you might need to tweak this one, especially if you're playing with a different wind resistance ball. So look at how many rings I was stretching out, so you're going to need to push up after you adjust. The adjustment here, max +10 on this one. And the idea is we miss the rough and just bounce after it, and the backspin will grab and the ball will roll nicely on the green. So max +10 P5, pushing up the amount that I was stretching out into to find my initial aim point. And then we take our shot, try and hit perfect, of course, especially with these distance wood clubs that don't have the accuracy. Go with the big dog or the cataclysm, whichever you feel is best for you. Clearing the rough just nicely there, don't want to push it any closer than that. And we're going to have an easy putt for the eagle. We're going to play here with spin first, and it is a 1.5 top spin and 0.2 left spin, and it's a no movement target shot, so you don't need to worry about your landing position. Try and keep the wind below 8. Load the hole with the sniper and the kingmaker for the correct NMT. Just add your spin, adjust your rings, and off we go. Max plus 15, power 3. Once again, sniper 10 numbers is needed here. You may need some additional tweaks if you're playing in higher winds than 8 miles per hour, so just a word of warning about that one. And obviously, if you get more crosswind angle, you might want to go with a couple of clicks of left curl. More headwind angle, you might want to go with a click of OP. But you'd have to take a token or two and try and dial those in as best you can. But the NMT works really well on this hole in multiple wind angles, actually, and we dropped this one. APOC and Kingmaker 5 top spin, 3 right spin, topper plus 10 with APOC 5 and above, P3 max with APOC 4, blue ring touching the rough if you've got APOC 5 or 6, as I have in the video. Because the same accuracy, you can use the same ring references. Max plus 10 is the adjustment. Don't worry about going down into the bunker. Just try and adjust as straight as you can. Then we're going here with a ball and a half of curl to the right, just before the circle drops for overpower, because I don't use grids. Perfect ball away, bounces very nicely on the fairway, even though you can't see it with the camera angle, and we get a nice roll here. Drive distance is going to be in the region of 375 yards. Now, write down your drive, because you're going to need it for your second shot. Before spin, find the sticky spot there with the ball guide passing right of the pin, and it doesn't move around with the second bounce. You can move your target, but it won't move that much, and that's how you know you're in the right position. Then you add your spin, approximately 1.5 backspin and 1 left spin, but you want to offset as I do in the video here. So I just tweak my spin a bit so I can get the right offset. And you can see there 2 green squares to the left and also short of pin. For a drive of 377, so that's a different drive to the one shown in the video here, you're going to play 60% slider, 20% elevation. If your drive was 375, you're further away, so you go 65% slider. And so on. It's 2.5% per yard with wood clubs. Making our adjustment, hitting perfect, and with drive distance notes here following a perfect drive, you're going to have a very good chance with that sticky spot at dropping this one in for the albatross. We're going with 5.8 top spin, 2 left spin, and we're going to aim here. Again, plus 10 with the Apocalypse 5 plus, P3 max with APOC 4. With the spin added, look for that second bounce as well as the rings. You can see it just by the edge of the rough. Max plus 10, power 3. It's going to be 6.1 rings for me. Different club levels, different wind strength scores will vary. But we want to bounce over the rough and get nicely down the next piece of fairway to be able to guarantee the birdie, maybe get a shot at the eagle. Very tough hole to get an eagle on this one. Very long par 4. Perfect ball away, bounces very nicely and coasts beautifully down the middle of the fairway. Drive distance here you're wanting in the region of 375 yards. Second shot, if you've pushed the drive harder, you may not need to push up after adjusting, but otherwise you will need to. Around 1.5 backspin and always 3 left spin. Longer drives might need a little bit more backspin though, so be prepared to go to 2 if need be. Add your spin, stretch out, red ring touching the rough, ball guide on the fringe as shown, and look at how many rings you are stretching out into overpower, because you will need to get those rings back after you adjust by means of pushing up. Max plus 5 on this one. Max plus 5, you don't want to over adjust this one because we are going to use some left curl. Pushing up the required amount of rings based on what we used to find our landing position. Here I go with just over half a ball of curl to the left. You could call it 0.6 ball curl if you want to. And you can tweak this depending how much you want to attack the pin. Speed is good though. Bit more curl, we'd have had that in.
Please do join us over on Facebook. We have an ever-growing community of players there. Over 16,000 members. Head over to Facebook, search for BK Golf Clash and submit your member request there. Free to join. There are free guides posted, lots of shot sharing and discussion points. You can chat and interact with me as well, and loads more over on Facebook. So head over there and search for BK Golf Clash. Good chance on this par 3 in all wind angles, particularly tailwind. I'm going to be playing with the sniper and having the blue ring touching the beginning of the fringe where it meets the rough. Your spins are going to vary depending on the wind angle, but as a starting point I would be looking at 1 bar of top spin, maybe a couple of clicks more, and then you want to apply right spin to catch that little groove on the left hand side of the green. you can see if we land further right, the ball guide will point further left, and so on. So when you're tweaking this shot, just bear that one in mind. If you are under adjusting in this wind angle, then obviously it's going to send the ball guide the opposite way, just because of how the green reacts. So bear that one in mind. Due to the slopes, that's what's going to happen. The adjustment I would go with here is 1-to-1, which is what I do in the video. We would need to just tweak the aim rather, in that case, tweaking the spin to aim the ball guide rather than move the target, although you could try moving the target as well. Catching the slope, but just needed a little bit of a tweak there to get that to drop. But the speed and the principle was very nice.
Lovely NMT shot here with the katana, and we're going to stick with the katana here. 5.2 top spin and 3 left spin. So NMT with your APOC and a power 2 ball. Adjust max plus 20 power 2 numbers. Now, if you have APOC 4, and only if you have APOC 4, after you adjust, you would then need to push up 1.7 rings. That's to compensate for having 6 yards less power. But even if you have APOC 4, you've still got a slow needle, full overpower, 2 balls of left curl. Look at the base of the tee aligned with the inner tip of the triangle. Hit perfect. You're either going to clear the rough completely and roll out for a short wedge, as I do in the video, or worst case scenarios, you clip the rough, but you will still roll out for an Embringer wedge. Usual elevation 20%.
I'm going to show you an aggressive shot here, but it does need some tweaking according to wind angle to try and get to the green in 2, but it's by no means easy. This is a P10 NMT shot with the APOC and a berserker. 3.5 top spin, 2 bars left spin. Obviously this will vary depending how much tailwind you have, because in straight tailwind you will need to dial the top spin back because the wind will push you too far. So just bear that in mind, you do need to tweak all of this. This is max plus 10, full overpower. It is going to be a shaky needle with this kind of more crosswind, but the second bounce there in the middle of the rough, and then we're going to roll out to the middle of the fairway. Drive distance 390. Second shot, this is a very, very risky shot if you do not practice. You've got to really practice this one, but this is going to be a slice. We are going here with half a bar of backspin and half a bar of right spin, stretching out to have the red ring touching the rough. Now, I needed more backspin here, so I would play with 1 bar of backspin instead in this wind angle. But bear in mind, you will have to tweak the adjustment and the amount of rings moved according to your wind angle. In this wind angle, I move 22 rings to the left and then go with a full overpower, full curl slice. It will vary depending on the club you're using. This is only to give you an idea of a way that you can aggressively reach the green on this very long par 5 in 2.
Start with a basic ball first and then add spin. 5 backspin, and then we're going to set up with the red ring touching the rough, and the ball guide you will see there is pointing at the pin. Then we change to a kingmaker. Keep the backspin, but then you're going to add 1 bar of right spin. So it's a respin to get the necessary offset. So aim at the pin without the side spin, and then you add the bar of right spin once you've switched ball away from the basic ball. Max plus 25, power 2, settings, sniper 10, numbers, keep the wind below 8 miles per hour if you possibly can. Untested in higher winds from my end due to time constraints, but obviously take a token or two and try it out if you want to see how it works and what tweaks might be needed. Perfect ball away, and we catch that nice little slope and sneak this one in for a hole in 1. Time to go aggressive with the berserker, and we are going to play with the apocalypse. Add spin first, 5 top spin, 2 left spin. Your top spin may vary depending on wind strength here. You might want to put a tweak or 2 in. Bullseye directly over the rough at P5 max with APOC 5 plus. APOC 4, you need to stretch out a couple of rings to find your position. You can look at the ball guide with spin added as well to make sure you are lined up correctly if you've got a lower level club. Max plus 10, power 5 settings. For me, that's 9.2 rings. APOC 4, you need to push up 7 yards. If not, if you've got APOC 5 and above, leave it where it is. Good amount of curl to the left. Draw a line down from the tee. Look at how it would collide, an imaginary line with the triangle there, to replicate the correct amount of curl. And we bounce into the rough and roll out. It's going to roll out either to the fringe for a wedge or the green for an eagle putt. Going to play out to the left-hand fairway. 5.8 topspin. 3 bars side spin to the left. And we are going to set up as follows. Top of +10 for APOC 5. Max for APOC 4. With spin added, you'll see the second bounce is just that last little click before it gets clipped away by the rough. So you don't need to worry about rings too much here. But obviously APOC 5 and 6, you can look at the blue ring if you so wish. But check the second bounce with spin added. That's the best way of getting your position. Max +10, and then we're going with 2 balls curl here. So look at the gap between the edge of the Kingmaker and the triangle. It's a good reference. Just before the circle drops in overpower. Get the curl right, hit perfect, and you're going to bounce nicely away from the rough and really clear of the rough here, but you're getting a good roll on your drive. Anywhere around 375 to 380. Second shot, true club distance, 5% elevation. Need to tweak the spin a little bit here, or the offset, depending what you want to prefer. It's nice if we can set up in plus yards here because it gives us a reference. If not, you may have to just estimate a little bit. So true club distance, if you're at max, you would play 100% slider. If you were at +8, that's 4 yards away from max, you would play 90% slider, and so on. So +1, 11 yards away from max, I go 72% slider, 5% elevation. I like the adjustment. I don't want to adjust it anymore in case we flirt with a bunker with a great right. But I would like you just to tweak the side spin based on the miss here in the video. Go back, have a look at the ball guide, just tweak the offset a little bit, and you've got a good chance for an albatross here. Like I said, needs a small tweak, but the speed is good.
If you are enjoying the free content here on the channel and want to help out and keep everything free, then please consider making a small donation. All donations are gratefully received and help me out here on the channel, as all of the content here is produced for free in my own spare time. You can do that in one of 3 ways. You can hit the thanks button here on YouTube, you can make a PayPal donation via the link in the description down below, or you can also join us over on Patreon. Details at the end of the video. I recommend you play no movement target here on this par 3. So load the hole with the sniper and the Kingmaker, and that is where we are going to aim, where the game loads your target. We are adding a spin depending on wind angle. Here I'm going with 0.5 top spin, and you can see right spin as needed to offset the ball guide about a green square and a half to the right of the pin. If you've got wind angle coming in the other direction, then obviously I'll be using left spin and offsetting the correct amount left of the pin. Straight tailwind, going to need a couple of clicks less top spin and aiming at the pin, and so on. So you're just offsetting depending on how much crosswind you have. Adjustment is medium distance with 20% elevation, and we're using power 6 numbers to match the ball that I am using. Centering the ball, hitting perfect, and you're going to see this bounces very nicely before the water, and the top spin takes us nicely over, not threatening the hazard. Second bounce on the green, tracking along that green square column and dropping right at the pin. Finding our position with the quarterback here, white ring touching the rough, the bottom of the white ring touching the rough at P3 max. I would suggest you turn the camera around to this kind of side-on view to get the position. Then we switch to our Apocalypse and Thorn bag and add spin. 5.8 top spin, 2 bars left spin. Then the adjustment here is going to be max +0, power 3 settings. So max +0, power 3. Now, if you don't want to do rings from min on the second shot, if that isn't for you, then instead you can write down drive distance instead. So you've got a couple of references. Kind of rings from min is the most accurate though, as this isn't a completely linear hole. Perfect ball away, no overpower, no curl. And it's going to bounce over very nicely, not threatening the ruffled sand. And the drive distance here is going to be in the region of 350 yards. Now we're going to count rings from min, but first I'm adding 0.4 backspin. Finding the min line and then counting rings from min, and you want to count up until you have the ball guide just to the front edge of the cup. There's 5, there is 10, and in the end I go with another 4 rings to have the ball guide as shown. You can see they're just going to the front edge of the cup. Now, in the video here, I went with 0 elevation and unfortunately missed this one, as this was under adjusted. Pull this one over the bullseye. It's 1% slider per ring from min. So 14 rings from min, going 14% slider. But rather than 0 in the video, I would like you, as is on the notepad, to go with 5% elevation. That would be my suggested tweak based on the miss in the video. As I said, perfect ball, sadly just under adjusted here, but 5% elevation should get you in.
Max plus 10 on the drive is the adjustment, and we're going with 3 bars of left spin and 3.5 top spin. We don't need much here because you don't want to roll into the rough. You will need the big dog or the cataclysm for your second shot. Red ring touching the rough on the left at the top of plus 10 with APOC 5 and 6. APOC 4, 20% of the red ring overlapping the rough at P3 max rest. Adjust maximum distance with 10% elevation, and then it's time to take our shot. We're going with a 1.5 ball curl to the left, just before the circle drops as our overpower reference. You can see the ball there is touching the bottom outside tip of the triangle. So there's your reference for your curl. Hit perfect, bouncing very nicely, clearing the rough there and not threatening the rough here. We're nicely on the fairway, 344 yards. Now you might need to tweak the spins based on your drive here, but I'm looking at having around 2.2 top spin, and you can see going with all the left spin, and I'm looking at having the second bounce 1 ring beyond the rough. I'm setting up deliberately before max distance of my club, around 3 yards before, just to give myself room to adjust. Regardless of that though, I'm playing this one just a basic elevation of max plus 0. I'm not worried about any slider here. I just want to get it to the green. I adjust into a bit of overpower here, so I'm going to add that onto my shot. Still going to give me a decent chance of hitting perfect, and I'm using half a ball of curl to the left. And the idea here, like I say, it's just to get to green safely for the eagle. You might need to tweak the top spin based on your drive rollout, and you can see there safely on the green, and we're putting for our eagle on this tough par 5.
Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.